You can't do the polite dinner anymore. After Kirishima's confession, you stand up and walk over to the contract on the desk and tell Bakugo you want to find a way out. You expect him to be relieved. Instead, he gets angry. Not his usual explosive angry, but a cold, desperate kind. He has to explain why he's been so insufferable, and it might have nothing to do with Mina or Uraraka. The arrangement had been decided before you were old enough to have an opinion about it. Two families, one contract, your signature on a line you hadn't been asked about until the pen was already in your hand. Katsuki Bakugo became your husband-to-be on a Tuesday afternoon, and you learned about it over dinner, like it was a minor scheduling change. Your mother passed the rice, and your father explained the terms. You sat there with chopsticks halfway to your mouth and thought, I don't even know this person. You still didn't. Not really. Not in any way that mattered. What you did know was Ijiro Kirishima. He'd been assigned as your personal security detail 3 weeks into the engagement, a formality meant to keep you safe during the transition period, or so they called it, as though your life were a business being quietly absorbed by a larger company, and it was to them. He showed up at your door on a Wednesday morning in a crisp black jacket, hair pulled back, grinning like he wasn't there to babysit you. I'll try not to get in your way, he said, and somehow you believed him. And thinking about it, he really didn't. He fell into step beside you so naturally that within 2 weeks you'd forgotten what it felt like to walk alone. He laughed at things you said. He remembered that you hated the smell of black coffee and always made sure that yours had milk. He asked about your day like he actually wanted to know the answer. You told yourself it wasn't a crush. You were almost convincing. Bakugo, meanwhile, existed in the same house like a weather event. Loud, unpredictable, present in every room, even when he wasn't physically in it. He said your name like it inconvenienced him. He sat across from you at meals and scrolled at his phone. Once, when you tried to make conversation about a news article, he looked at you exactly for 2 seconds and said, That's a boring opinion, and then went back to eating. You decided you didn't like him. It required very little deliberation, and so you gravitated toward Kirishima. Obviously, he was warm, the kind of person who made a room feel smaller in a good way, cozier, like a fireplace that happened to have very nice arms and an even nicer laugh. You started taking longer routes when you went out, just to extend the time. You started asking his opinion on things you already knew the answer to. You started noticing the way he tilted his head when he was listening to you, really listening, like what you were saying deserved full attention. It was stupid. You knew it was stupid. And then, on a perfectly normal Thursday, it was stupider. You were both in the back of an SUV, heading back from an appointment. The city scrolling past the window, and he'd been quieter all day, distracted in a way that was new enough to make you curious. Are you good? You asked. He exhaled, rubbed the back of his neck. Yeah, just thinking about someone. Something in your chest did a thing you didn't appreciate. Someone. Mina. He said her name, like it meant something, like it had weight. She's... We've been friends since forever, you know. And lately I keep thinking, maybe it's more than that. Maybe it's been more than that for a while. Silence. Oh, you said. She's incredible. He continued. Because of course he did. Because apparently the universe had decided that subtlety was finished. Like, genuinely. She lights up every room she's in. I don't know. I think I might actually. Yeah. Like her, you mean? He looked at you. Do you think that's crazy? No. You said very calmly. I think that makes complete sense. You looked out the window for the rest of the ride. The city didn't look as nice as it had before. Fine. You were fine. You were a reasonable person who understood that feelings were not a contract, that Kirishima owed you nothing, that you had no claim on someone who had only ever been kind to you in the way kind people are kind to everyone. You were fine. What you were not was you were not going to mope. So you did the only thing available to you, the only logical option. You redirected. Bakugo was insufferable, yes, rude, completely uninterested in you as a human being, absolutely. But he was also there, and sometimes being there is enough of a starting point when you are a person who is determined not to feel sorry for herself. He started sitting in the same room as him, voluntarily. He looked at you the first time like you'd walked into the wrong house. What do you want? He said, not a question, a challenge. Nothing, you said. Can I sit here? He stared. It's not my couch. And so you sat. It went like that for a while. You showing up, him tolerating it with the energy of someone enduring mild weather. But then, slowly, he started talking. Short sentences at first. Complaints, mostly, about training, about politics, about the way the cook oversalted everything on Fridays. You listened. You responded. It felt like progress. It felt like something. And then one evening, Kirishima came in, while you and Bakugo were mid-argument about something neither of you would remember later, and he dropped onto the couch with a heavy sigh and said, I texted Mina. I told her how I feel. Bakugo went quiet in a specific way. How did it go? You asked. She didn't reply yet. He looked at Bakugo. You know how she is. Think she'll be weird about it. She won't, Bakugo said flatly. Kirishima nodded, staring at the ceiling. I just keep thinking about the last time we hung out. She was talking about this guy from her dance class and I just wanted to be me, she talked about like that, you know. He made a soft sound of acknowledgement. Bakugo said nothing, just turned his phone over in his hand, once, twice, and then Kirishima, because he had no survival instincts whatsoever, said, What about you, Bakugo? You ever feel like that about anyone? Don't ask stupid questions. Bakugo said, Well, that's not a no. It's not an answer either, so drop it. But something had shifted in his jaw, a tightness that hadn't been there a minute ago. You watched him the way you'd gotten good at watching him, quietly, from the corner of your eye. And he must have felt it because he looked over at you then, direct and unreadable. What? He said. Nothing. He held your gaze for a second longer than necessary, and then he looked away and said, Oraraka. Just a name, dropped into the room like it cost him nothing, except the way he said it, quick, almost defensive, made it sound like it cost him a lot. Wait, seriously? Kirishima blinked. Bakugo's expression closed, like a window being shut. Forget it. but you had already heard it. You were already doing the math. The soft round face, the easy warmth, the way a name like that sounded in his mouth, like something he turned over multiple times in private. He sat there between the two of them and felt the specific quiet humiliation of being the only person in the room who didn't have someone to think about that way. Is there something wrong with me? Neither of them were looking at you. The answer didn't come. The silence did. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you like this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And goodbye.